everyone, welcome again. It's me, Roger the Shavelion. Ooh, this is episode 153. Glad to have you here today, and I want to share with you what I'm shaving with. Once again, I will be shaving with the Tampa Shave Company Tampa Edition razor. There you go. Can't be bad. Lovely, lovely, lovely. I have inside the Treet Platinum blade, and I'll be using this as the second shave. I'm also going to be using the Moto head blade on my head. Go figure that. But I stropped it this morning. I did 30 on a cloth strop. I did 40 on the rough side of the leather and 60 on the smooth side of the leather. So this should be very sharp for today. Today's choice is going to be Cedarwood shaving cream. Alright, from a Tailor of Old Bond Street. Now I am going to use this as a face lather today. So I'll be doing no bowl today. I'll also be using, to accomplish that, I'll be using my Galaxy 25mm brush, synthetic. Beautiful brush. And then we'll be finishing it up with Sandpiper Aftershave from Stirling. So, all together, it's going to create a wonderful, wonderful shave. Did you know that you're a son? But if you believe in Jesus Christ, you are a son, and you are an heir to the eternal kingdom. I'm saying this to encourage you, because after all, sometimes we have to wonder to ourselves, am I really saved? Well, Jesus does a very good job of encouraging us here in today's lesson. Please join me as we look into the wonders of His love. Alright, you guys, let's get down to it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to load my brush up. So, I'm going to do this above board without having to go down, but I do need to titrate my brush. So I'm getting my brush wet, and I'm squeezing the water out of it, most of the water out of it, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to lightly swirl this. Okay, remember this is a shaving cream, a soft shaving cream and not... Okay, look at that. I barely have any on here. This is going to be enough for all my shave. Alright, I'm going to close this up once again. This is Tailor of Old Bond Street, Cedarwood shaving cream. Alright. Now it's time for the towel. Alright, well guess what? Actually, I've wrung my towel out. I'm going to just leave it there off to the side wrung out. And instead, before we get started with that, I'm going to read God's Word, because that's important. We need God's Word to lead and direct us. This is from Galatians chapter 4, verses 1 through 7. I mean that let me start again. I mean that the heir, as long as he is a child, is no different from a slave, though he is the owner of everything. But he is under the guardians and managers until the date set by his father. In the same, we also, when we were children, were enslaved to the elementary principles of the world. But when the fullness of time had come, God sent forth his Son, born of a woman, born under the law, to redeem those who were under the law, so that we might receive the adoption as sons. And because you are sons, God has sent the Spirit of His Son into our hearts, crying, Abba, Father. So you are no longer a slave, but a son. And if a son, then an heir through God. Believe me, this is very encouraging, and I'll unpack this in just a moment. Alright, you guys, now it's towel time. Present the top. Lovely, lovely, lovely. Alright, we're going to grab our brush. I'm going to make sure that I have some extra water on my face. Even though I hydrated it, just want plenty of water on my face for this. And then we will kind of paint it on. And then we'll scrub it. Face lathering is kind of fun to do because you don't have to deal with a bowl or a scuttle or anything like that. You just simply apply the cream. Alright, very good. You know, it's kind of interesting here because Jesus kind of infers here that, you know, as children, that we as children are born kind of linked to the elemental dealings of the world. In other words, we're really not connected to him in the formal sense of the word. Okay? But you know, as a person changes, as a person becomes more knowledgeable about the Lord and what he has done with them, they kind of grow into their own. They learn to love the Lord and to trust in him. And of course, that is a wonderful thing, because when we trust in the Lord, he guides our paths. And it's kind of in the same sense too, as someone who is an heir to an estate. You know? But a person that's alive, they don't get the money or the property. But they're managers, they control it, and they, you know, they control it and hold on to it until the appropriate time. You know what's our greatest inheritance? I'm pretty sure you know. It's Jesus. He is our heir. He is the wonderful gift that we have. Because God, at the proper time, in the proper place, under the proper circumstances, sends his one and only Son, that he should suffer and die for us. I mean, that's why he came. He came for that very purpose. Of course, he did a lot of ministry. And he was the prime example of how our life should be lived. And yet at the same point, his goal was to go to the cross. That just terrifies me. Thinking that he knew in his mind that he had to go to the cross. And he knew it, even from the youngest of ages. I mean, he knew what his fate was. But of course, he also knew the end result. It's not like he ran around in his life wondering. But Well, I would dare say we don't have to wander around in this life wondering for ourselves either. Because you see, because of us accepting and believing what Jesus has done, we are heirs. We've become sons or daughters. Even though he's speaking in the masculine, he really is sharing it for all people. It's not just the guys, it is the gals too. You are either a son or daughter of the king. Okay? And it's a wonderful thing. Because you have been, God invested in you. He invested in you by sending his son to suffer and die. And in doing so, all who trust in him will never be put to shame. That means you have become a son. And as our lesson says, if you become a son, then you become an heir. Right? An heir to eternal life. See, it's marvelous how he puts things. Alright, second pass across the grain. Shaving beautifully this morning. And I have got a few nicks, but up by that upper lip. Oh well. What can I say? Looking good. So far, so good. Alright. There we go. Ooh, is it feeling good? I'm sorely tempted to stop, but I think I'll do one more shave against the grain. More water. It is kind of important. Just lick on a little bit of water. You don't need tons of it, but just enough to give that soap a place to travel. My goodness, there's somebody using a chainsaw outside. How dare them? Oh well. You know, it's one of those things. Gonna turn into the Florida chainsaw shaving. Alright, here we go for that last pass. On the face, anyway. So I want you to be encouraged. God, if you believe in Jesus, God has made you a son. And if you're a son, you are an heir according to the promise, and you will receive eternal life. You have an inheritance. It's not an inheritance in earthly things, or in money, or in cash in this world. It is a heavenly inheritance. And the only way you can claim hold of that is to believe in Jesus as your Lord and Savior, and continue to believe in him. Alright? He is our Lord and Savior. And we are either with him or against him. With Jesus, we have to be all in. There's no halfway to it. And as I've said before, you cannot ride the fence, which means you cannot try to sit between kingdoms. Serve Satan and try to serve God at the same time. It doesn't work. Oh, goodness sakes alive. A beautiful shave indeed. Okay. You know what time it is? It's fast forward time. Well, it's fast forward time. Let it go. Woohoo! Wow. Very nice. It feels beautiful. Alright, you guys. Here we go. We're going to put on the aftershave next. Once again, this is from Stirling Soap Company's Sandpiper Aftershave Splash. Alright. Yes. Here we go. Woo-hoo-hoo! Yes, sirree. There you go. There you have it. The entire shave from start to finish. Alright, you guys. Remember, you are a son if you believe in Jesus Christ. And if you are a son, then you will be an heir. My advice to you is stay in Jesus' graces. Live for Him. Pray to Him. Speak to Him. Listen to His voice. Follow what He says. Let your focus and thought and joy be on Him fully in all that you do. And as you are, He will not only lead and guide you, but you will remain in Him. You'll remain in Him. He'll keep you as that son or that daughter. And if you are a son or a daughter, then the inheritance of heaven will be yours. Alright, you guys. It was great having you today. May the Lord watch over you, bless you, and keep you, and may He give you Nick-free and baby butt smooth shaves. Have a great day, everyone. Toodles!